Welcome everyone, my name is Jacob. Thank you for joining me. This is Hunt Detail, and we're going to continue our series on preparing you for your elk hunt. And over the past few weeks, we've talked about hunt mindset, hunt objective. That's been linked to, of course, to e-scouting and hunt planning. Over the past few weeks, we've been talking about hunt systems. I know last week we discussed your emergency kit and your how you're going to handle meat care in your kill kit. And so today we're going to talk about your cook system, your food system, and your sleep system. And before we get to that, a couple things. If you're enjoying this content, all I ask is that you go to the Hunt Detail YouTube channel right now. There's a load of content there. The content that is best communicated via video. Go there and subscribe. I just released a few videos looking at backcountry tent stoves to sort of keep a tent warm. And there's 1-person and 2-person tent stoves. I tried to look at those product categories and talk about the pros and cons of each of the stoves based on weight and ounces. And sort of ounces per cubic inch. And so if you're somebody that imagines going spring bear hunting or hunting in the fall or the winter, you may be interested in that. I know Peaks is going to be coming out with their backcountry stove system later this summer. And if you watch those videos, you'll sort of get a sense of what might be of interest to you, and it could be a better way to evaluate the Peaks stove when it comes out. So there's also a video on backcountry cook systems, looking at the Jetboil, MSRs, Fire Maple, and sort of giving you my perspective on their performance as well. And I will tell you, one of them was a real stinker. So a brand name was a real stinker. But a little bit of personal news, I actually did draw an elk tag, which is really exciting. And the cool thing is I didn't use any of my points. And I'm really pleased with that. I think that if you haven't drawn a tag yet, I can tell you there's a lot of other opportunities out there. So don't give up yet. Don't throw in the towel. There are other draws that are coming. And I think the future of this whole thing is it's not enough to have a lot of points, and it's not enough to have an understanding of each state's draw. You really have to, each state's primary draw, you really have to know their secondary draws, the return tag process. There's just a lot of other layers to each of the states and their draw systems beyond the primary draw. And I think it's going to be critical if you want to play the game that you have to understand those dynamics. It's not enough. And so it's just like anything else. It's like if, like going hunting in the backcountry, you want to go farther and stay longer. You want to get away from the pressure, right? Well, you have to prepare for that. You have to be physically fit and have all of these different things. And it's sort of the same thing now, I think, with tags, that you have to have as much, if not more, knowledge than anyone else if you want to stay in the game. And so I just want to encourage you to not give up in that regard. But I am very excited, and I will certainly share things as things move forward. It certainly gives me a greater focus on in my efforts, in my preparation efforts, my workouts and all of that. So, but let's talk today a little bit about, we're going to talk about a couple things. One of them is going to be our cook system and our food system. And so this year I'm running a Jetboil Mini Mow. And I like it more than the Jetboil Flash because while both are incredibly efficient at getting water to boil within like a minute to 30 seconds, the Mini Mow has the ability to sort of adjust that temperature to sort of simmer and to to allow it to fine tune it. Whereas the flash is just all or nothing. And so I wanted to give that a try. It's relatively compact, and we'll see. Now, for fuel, I'll be using the Jetboil canisters themselves. They are a mix of propane and isobutane. And the purpose behind that is because isobutane is lighter, but it doesn't perform well in the cold, whereas propane is better in the cold, but is a bit heavier. So the idea here is to mix both of them and take advantage of the properties of each. That you have something that's a little lighter than a whole can of propane, works a little bit better in the cold than just a single can of isobutane. So from a food standpoint, in the past I targeted 3,000 calories, but I found that I'm having a lot of leftover food, and that is in turn having me carry extra weight. Takes up more space in my pack. And so this year I'm going to cut it back to about 2,500 calories. Each day I put in what I'm taking for food into a seal shrink bag that sucks all the air out of it. And I write day one, on day two, day three, whatever day it is on each bag. And that bag will have a DIY dehydrated meal that I've made with either elk or venison or beef mixed in all together with some zucchini and maybe some rice or spaghetti or something like that. And I'll dehydrate it down, all of it. And I've had it dehydrated for a couple of years now, and I really like it. And actually, if you click on the link in the Hunt Detail Instagram page on the link tree, you can find a list of a lot of these different things that I'm going to be talking about, and other lists as well. And I encourage you to check it out. But it's an Excalibur 9 tray, and I've used it to dehydrate meals, but also make fruit jerky, which is essentially applesauce and a sweet potato mixed together. And it's really good. The fruit jerky's great. And I'll take some like salmon jerky from Epic. I have a lot of products from Honey Stinger, like the Honey Stinger waffles, which are great. And then I'll put a little pack of Justin's almond butter on that, and it's just delicious. Really good combination, and has some, a little bit of sugar, but a little bit of protein and carbs. I'll take a Honey Stinger Caffeinated Chews or the Honey Stinger protein bar, which I really like. I'm not sponsored by anybody, so but these are just things. They just seem to make a lot of good products for hiking and hunting and all that. RX bars, Go Macro bars, Raw Rev bars. I'll take a Greens Plus bar. Element is a hydration packet. It has zero sugar. I'll take packets of bone broth from Lona Life. Those are good, and that's really a lot of what I'm doing for food. I'll make some black tea. I'll take packets of black tea, but usually when I get up, I'm moving. I'm not probably really eating breakfast until I get to a point where I'm ready to stop hiking. I might eat something on the way, but I'm not making breakfast. There's no reason for that. I'm too excited, honestly. I get up, want to get going. This is pre sunrise, and then I will eat some of those things while I'm hiking, while I'm covering ground, while I'm taking a break, and then in the evening I'll make my dehydrated meal, mix in some olive oil once it's done. It's so delicious, and maybe have something for dessert. Make myself a cup of hot tea or something, and then watch something on my phone. I'll download. Last year I had Yellowstone, I think season 5 on my phone, and that was awesome to just finish each night with that. So I highly encourage that dynamic. With regards to sleep systems, I uh, I tend not to overcomplicate things. I know some folks use quilts, and some people use special sleeping bags and certain pads, and I have a climate air pad. I couldn't tell you exactly which one it is, but you know, it is what it's just an air pad. I use like the stuff sack that comes in, or another stuff sack, and put some clothing in it or something, and that makes a pillow. And then I have a Kelty 20-degree bag. I think that's a 20-degree bag during September is really all you need. If it's any colder than that, of course you can wear a puffy, or heat up some water, throw it in a water bottle, throw it at the bottom of your bag. It'll warm that bag. Um a Featherstone backbone 2-person trekking pole tent is new for me this year. Last year I used a 1-person trekking pole tent, and it was just a little too cramped, and I wanted something with a little bit more space. So I got the 2-person tent. It has a better vestibule system, and it uses both of my trekking poles, not just one. I also have a Dyneema tarp that is from, gosh, I can't remember the company, but I'll use that as additional cover for my tent just in case it rains. It did rain on me last year, and it was nice to have that to sort of break up that rain. And I do have a giant roll of Tyvek, or it's like house covering. You can get it at Lowe's or Home Depot, and I think the roll cost me $35. If you try to buy a sheet on Amazon, they'll charge you maybe 17 or $20 for a small little piece. And Tyvek's great because it's waterproof, it's lightweight, and it's great for putting elk quarters on. It's also great as a ground covering for your tent, so you're not just having sticks or whatever coming through the floor of your tent and popping your air pad. So, small piece of Tyvek, and I I like to have some sort of light outside of my tent, and sometimes I'll keep it on, sometimes I'll turn it off. But it's this year I bought a hammock light, which is a string of lights that are sort of it's interesting. It's sort of embedded into a piece of cord, and it's from a company called Brights. And I'm going to give that a try. I like to have it as I'm setting up or breaking down camp, or sometimes I'll just leave it on, or I don't know, turn it off altogether. But I like to have that. It's a little bit of a weight penalty, but it's nice to have something else to see instead of just using my headlamp, because the headlamp is such a focused beam, and you're trying to see multiple things as you set up a tent or break down a tent. And so I like to just have a string of lights. It allows me to see everything all at once, and then I can work accordingly. But those are some things that I have as it relates to my food system, cook system, and sleep system. The you know I think I had a 2-person tent a few years ago from Cabela's. I can't remember the name of it, but it was weighed about 5 pounds, and I remember it took up so much room in my tent because of the sticks that come with it. It's an awesome tent, and I got it on sale, I think, for $150. It was normally twice that or something, and it's I think a 4-season tent, and I love that tent. It's plenty of room, nice vestibule, but the stick system that you used for it just takes up it weighs so much, and it takes up so much room. And so that's why I pivoted to this trekking pole tent, because it just seems crazy to carry around all that extra weight. and take up all that room in your pack. So, those are some things that for consideration as you develop your own system or tweak your own system. But hope you found this helpful. And of course, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for listening today, and best of luck this season. All the best.